Welcome to the Constitution Show, brought to you by the American Constitutional Rights Union, dedicated to defending the constitutional rights of all Americans. Here to dive into our National Owner's Manual, the Constitution of these United States, in a fun and practical way, I'm Tom McHale, here with co-host and producer Joe Armacost.
Hey, Tom.
Joe, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, bro. And it's good to be here with you again. It's good to be here with everybody else who's watching. And Tom, I've been thinking about this show for a long time. And what I'd like to know is, and I'm sure it's a burning question in everyone's heart, just what is a constitution? What is it?
You know what? I think it is the burning question.
I think
It
so, Tom.
is.
Okay, enough of that.
Well, good. Let's.
Tom.
Hey, I'm kind of serious. This is actually really important right now these days, huh?
Damn straight. Yeah, it
so
is.
let's dig in. So a constitution, simply put, is a contract. I also like to think of it as a rule book, right? You could also describe it as maybe an etiquette guide, and with in which bad manners are answered with real consequences. So, in short, it's our National Owner's Manual. It outlines the expected behaviors of all parties in a consent-based form of government.
No, excuse me, sir. Could you please pass the Second Amendment?
Nice. So
there.
important concept, the consent-based thing, because we volunteer to create our government to serve us. I know that's kind of a funny thing to say these days, but that is the absolute truth. So let's dig in a little bit more. So what exactly is it? Why do we have it? That's simple. By law, I think politicians have to have something they can wantonly and flagrantly abuse and violate and ignore, right? Yeah,
I think you're right.
I'm kidding, but I'm kind of not. So
Yeah.
but serious, we will get serious here. So got to have a little fun. But seriously, the key word in our somewhat frivolous explanation is principles. The Constitution is a contract of principles, and those are timeless things, not timely policies. You hear people say, "Hey, the Constitution's out of date. It's not relevant anymore." Well, if it were a document of policies, that would be true, but it's not. It's a document of principles, and those are timeless. So things like principles like a natural right to free speech and freedom of religion don't change. So the Constitution kind of lays out the infrastructure and process for making policy decisions, policy, not principle decisions and laws, based on eternal principles. So there is kind of an interesting thing about this. Back to that, it's out of date criticism of the Constitution. The founders knew the only constant thing is change. So they recognized the futility of drafting a set of specific rules and regulations that talk about how to churn butter and fly kites in lightning storms and illegal uses for wig powder. Right? They didn't do that. They knew that stuff would be out of date real quickly. So instead of trying to detail the specific rules, they focused on implementing the system designed to allow us to make those rules as time goes on and conditions changed. And as we'll see when we later in this series get into the text of the Constitution itself, a whole lot of thought went into the system that should make and change these laws over the decades and now centuries, right? So this process that's been designed is admittedly frustrating at times because it can be cantankerous and confrontational. But as we'll also see later in the series, that is entirely by design to facilitate careful deliberation and slow decision making, because decisions about running country are important and we shouldn't rush into anything like that. So what's in it? What is in the Constitution? We're going to get into that in lots and lots of detail. But for now, there's a short list of some of the concepts that are inside of there. The structure of our constitutional republic, how is the government designed? What are its built-in accountability features, like separate legislative, executive, and judicial branches that all kind of check and balance each other? They fight a lot, and that's by design also. The Constitution also has in it some rules and procedures about how the states should interact with each other. States are independent entities with much more power, by design than the federal government. Not so much anymore, but that's how it's supposed to be. The Constitution also specifically enumerates the limited powers granted by the people to states and to a lesser degree, the federal government. Other things that are in there include how we provide for national security. That's kind of a key underpinning to the preservation of natural rights, which is the only reason we have a government in the first place. And then finally, for all those people that say it's out of date and it's got to change, there's a process outlined for changing the Constitution itself. And we've done that a whole lot of times. We've tried to do that like 1,000 times, but only a couple of dozen of those have passed over the past 2 centuries. And again, that's by design. It should be hard to change the Constitution itself. So bottom line, just like we talked about in the previous episode, the Constitution is a set of blueprints for how to structure and operate a country. Rather than specifying laws, it lays out the model and processes for us to create those laws and policies. So there we have it. Thanks for joining us on the Constitution Show. Remember, we're in charge of this country, and while it doesn't seem like it sometimes, we're in charge of its government as well. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and family. Got something to say? Drop us a line at theconstitutionshow@theacru.org. Thank you.